Hey you guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to talk about Kimberly Sullivan. Kimberly was recently arrested for some really wild allegations, and this reminded me in some ways of the Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt situation. So I wanted to go over it with y'all. I'm sure that you have already heard some about it, but we're going to talk for a few minutes. So if you're interested, please keep watching. You guys, so let's talk about this. It says a Connecticut woman has been accused of holding her stepson captive for approximately 20 years after authorities discovered him, now 32 years old, 5'9", and weighing only 68 pounds during a house fire last month. On Thursday, police in Waterbury, Connecticut arrested Kimberly Sullivan, 56, and charged her with in the first degree, kidnapping in the second degree, unlawful restraint in the first degree, cruelty to persons, and reckless endangerment in the first degree. According to the police, authorities discovered the man on the 17th of February during a house fire that he had told police he had to set with a lighter, hand sanitizer, and paper in an attempt to escape. I wanted my freedom, he told police. Now, if you're wondering, okay, stepmom, how did she, do this if there's another parent in the house? Evidently, his father died recently, and the boy was left in the house with the stepmother. And in my opinion, if he just died recently, then that means that he was aware of this too, because it doesn't just take a short period of time to, someone to the point where a 32-year-old man is 68 pounds. That doesn't happen in a short period of time. Continuing on, it says, he said that he had been held captive since he was 11 years old. In 33 years of law enforcement, this is the worst treatment of humanity that I've ever witnessed. It was worse than the conditions of a jail cell. He would in a bottle and had straws connected to the bottom of the bottle, and he found the hole in the storm window frame that he was able to put these straws through. He said that the man's room was locked from the outside with a number of different styles of exterior locks. As we explained during an interview with the throughout the years, it appeared that the locks had increased in security levels as time progressed. According to an affidavit reviewed by multiple outlets, the man told police that he recalls being locked in his bedroom when he was 3 years old. He said he would sneak out at night and get food and would sometimes drink from the toilet because he was not given enough water. He said that after the food wrappings were eventually discovered in his bedroom, he started to get locked in his room. When he was in 4th grade, his prolonged absences caused the school to alert Connecticut's Department of Children and Families. Social workers from the state responded by conducting 2 wellness checks on his home, he said, alleging that his stepmother told him to lie and say everything was okay. I've been kept a secret my entire life. He lived with his father and stepmother, but following his father's death in 2024, he told police his captivity conditions became even worse. The victim also stated that it got to a point where the only time he would ever be out of the house once his father passed was to let the family dog out in the back of the property, stating it was only about 1 minute a day. Essentially, he was locked in his room between 22 and 24 hours a day. Kimberly is now being held on a $300,000 bond and has denied these accusations. She completely maintains her innocence. From our perspective, these allegations are not true. They are outlandish. She was blown away when she heard the allegations, her lawyer said. We look forward to being able to vindicate her and show that she's done nothing wrong.
33 years of law enforcement, this is the worst treatment of humanity that I've ever witnessed. On February 17th, around 8:40 p.m., Waterbury Police responded to 2 Blake Street on a report of a fire. Officers and fire investigators immediately realized there were some grave concerns about some of the conditions in the house. There were 2 occupants of the house, one being Kimberly Sullivan, the stepmother of the male victim. Officers and fire investigators quickly realized that there was a room in the house that appeared to have locks on it from the exterior portion of the house. They began to speak to the victim, who disclosed that he was being held captive in the house for an extended period of time, approximately 20 years. Here's an adult that was 5'9" and 68 pounds. Frankly, what was being reported was unfathomable to us at that point in time. This investigation, as the mayor points out, continues, is very open and very active. We were able to obtain arrest warrants for Kimberly Sullivan. She was arrested yesterday. She was arraigned in Waterbury Superior Court. She's currently being held on a $300,000 bond.
We have a shocking story from Waterbury, Connecticut, where police say a woman held her stepson captive for more than 2 decades, and he was only discovered after he says he set a fire in the family home for attention.
Kimberly Sullivan stood in a Connecticut courtroom yesterday, accused of cruelty and abusing her stepson for more than 20 years. Police say the victim, who is now 32 years old, told them he was kept a secret his entire life, locked away in his 8 by 9 foot room since he was 11. The emaciated man, who at 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighed only 68 pounds when he was found by police. According to the affidavit, he also told them he would only be given 2 cups of water a day, sometimes being forced to drink out of the toilet, and says he was only allowed out of his room to do chores for Sullivan. He says he was pulled out of school in the 4th grade and had had no contact with anyone. But last month, the Waterbury Fire Department was called to the home for reports of a fire they say was started by the man in his room. The man told first responders he believed it was his only way out. He was taken to the hospital, and that's when officials learned the details of his living conditions.
He lit that fire knowing he could very well, but he'd been locked in that room for 20 years. And for 20 years, he's been trying to get out of that room.
An attorney for Sullivan denied the claims of abuse.
This is obviously very fresh and new, so nobody really knows a ton of details yet, but I was shocked by this, and I immediately thought of Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt, and I wonder if there's, going to be a lot more information to come out about this. It's just really wild when you think about, you live in a neighborhood and you think that your neighbors are just living life like you are, doing normal stuff day to day. And then something like this happens. And for me, it really makes me question, what is really going on? And there's something to be said about the parallels between kids being taken out of school and then all of a sudden things like this are uncovered. And even if it's not to this degree, these parents that take their kids out of school and claim that they're going to homeschool them, it's almost like they're a way of erasing their child from anybody else checking on them. But I will continue to keep an eye on this, and we'll kind of see what happens. Really crazy. I'm glad that he was rescued. It's shocking, and it's very sad that he literally had to, catch his house on fire to be able to escape his stepmother. But survival. I'm glad that he got out, and I hope that he can recover, and I will continue to keep an eye on this. But that's it for today. So if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.